I'd like to introduce Lisa Maurer from the Women's Rights Information Center, who's going to introduce our honoree of the Dr. Celia Weissman Memorial Award, a very prestigious award. And congratulations to Lil. Take it away, Lisa.
So I'm so glad that I decided to jot my thoughts down on paper, because when I look out into this dynamic audience, I'm a little stage fright. So bear with me. I'm Lisa Maurer. I am the Programs Director for the Women's Rights Information Center, and I am honored today to introduce this prestigious award to Lil. But before I do, I had a thought this morning as I was, preparing for what I was going to say, and I thought of something very relevant. Sometime back in November, I guess before COVID, when we met in person with one another, Lil was invited to an event that it was going to be an event, a collaboration of lots of community service agencies, and all of the executive directors were going to have an opportunity at this event to get up and talk a little bit about who they are and what they do. That day came and there was a conflict in schedule. And at the last minute, Lil decided she just couldn't go. So she came to me and she said, Lisa, would you mind stepping in for me? She said, I can't get there, but send my best, send my regrets and just go ahead and do your thing. So we didn't have time at that point to let the host know that it would be me coming instead of Lil. So I was sitting at the table and one by one, agencies were going up to the mic and it came time for me. And the host said, and now I'd like to present to you Lil Corcoran, the Executive Director of the Women's Rights Information Center. And everybody clapped and I walked up and I said to the audience, if there's nothing else that you remember from what I'm about to say, remember this, there's only one Lil Corcoran and it's not me. And I laughed because over the course of the last 6 months, as we've all come to the Zoom meetings, we all come on these boxes with our names, and myself and some of the other staff often sign on with the agency account. So I'll be looking at the screen, and so often there'll be 4 or 5 Lil Corcorans in the meeting. And I'm always waiting for someone to stand up and say, well, the real Lil Corcoran, please stand up. However, with that being said, today I am honored and privileged to have this opportunity to introduce Lil Corcoran as the recipient of the Dr. Celia Weissman Award. I speak on behalf of myself, the staff, the board, and the community when I say that no one deserves this more. In 2016, leaving a long-standing career as the Assistant Executive Director at the Center for Hope and Safety, Lil Corcoran was named Executive Director of the Women's Rights Information Center in Englewood. It is from that very moment that little white building on Palisades Avenue found its place on the map. Lil is a trusted ally, a respected leader, an inspirational mentor, and a force to be reckoned with. She has a big heart with the grit and intelligence to back it up. It is no accident that she commands a fiercely loyal staff. When Lil came to WRIC, she brought with her a vision to create an environment of support and safety, hope and healing for all women, but especially the most vulnerable in the community. Lil has changed countless lives. She has been instrumental in helping, she's been instrumental in helping women regain their dignity, their independence, their self-respect, and their confidence through her empathetic efforts. In just 4 short years, Lil has single-handedly transformed the Women's Rights Information Center to a full-service agency, expanding its boundaries, tripling its staff, increasing the budget, and multiplying the programs. WRIC has become a trusted referral and is uniquely known throughout the community for its wide variety of life-enhancing services, including job readiness, economic empowerment, victimization supports, self-development, welfare assistance, shared housing, educational counseling, and basic skills training. The foundation of the agency has been restructured by Lil's courageous spirit, unmeasurable passion, and tireless efforts. In 2019, the number of clients served climbed to an all-time high, resulting in more successes than ever before. In March of 2020, while filing pandemic guidelines, Lil made a decision that WRIC would emerge from this crisis stronger than it was before. She literally transformed the Women's Center to ensure its programs, case management, support groups, and continue through to continue through electronic means. Recognizing and responding to the skyrocketing needs of the community, WRIC moved without hesitation, providing emotional supports and basic needs for survival. Since March, Lil has buckled down and pushed her fear aside, never losing sight of the clients. With her positive and resilient leadership, forthright communications, and decisive actions, she worked tirelessly to sustain operations. In addition, Lil has made sure that her staff and her board were engaged and supported throughout the entire crisis. COVID-19 is a true personal crisis for all of us and poses an extraordinary challenge for executive directors of nonprofits. It would be easy for anyone to give up, but she keeps on going. She keeps giving it her all while encouraging and supporting staff and clients to do the same. I know I speak for us all when I say congratulations to Lil. Thank you for continuing to raise the bar, for continuing to shine the light and making this world a better place. Hashtag, we can do hard things.
Thank you, everybody. So I'm so grateful that Lisa introduced me because I don't have to talk about the agency because she covered all the, really happy about that because then I get to talk about me, my favorite subject. So I want to say probably Executive Tedesco, I think you made my mother very happy by referring to me as Lillian quite a bit because I am kind of known as Lil, but my mom still, she named me Lillian. My sister's on this somewhere. They all call me Lillian, so I'm sure they were very happy to hear you referring to me that way. But as Lisa says, most of you know me as Lil. I was thinking about, I was looking at your faces popping in and out and the names of the people on the call. You know, my dad who passed away actually 3 years ago this week. He had a saying he said all the time. If anybody knows, I had a contentious relationship with my dad most of my life, but he had these really cute little sayings. And one of them was, show me your face and I'll tell you who you are. And then I look out at the sea of faces here and I think, wow, I'm part of this group because, I got this award because of the people I'm hanging around with, right? I didn't get this because it's, hey, I'm working in concert with you. And it's such a privilege for me. And let me tell you something. I'm the biggest fan of Bergen County. And I'm going to tell you why in a minute. I love Bergen County. And I told this to the executive Tedesco once, and I'm going to say it to some of you. I was a little confused when I forgot you changed to commissioner. I'm like, who's the commissioner? What's the commissioner? And then I remembered that we freeholder to commissioner. But I feel for the executive and the commissioners. I love that I live in a county where I get to vote for people like you. So thank you for what you're doing and how you're keeping Bergen County as safe as it can be and a fun place to live. So I was actually born in the Bronx and in the 60s. And it wasn't the Riverdale section of the Bronx, just to give you an idea of the background I had. We were quite impoverished, poor, and I was one of 4 kids, and my mom, I was the oldest of 4 kids. And my mom, what I remember most as a small child, 4, 5, 6 years old, my mother was desperate to get over the bridge. Desperate to get over the George Washington Bridge and get to New Jersey. And she somehow figured out a way to do that. And when to Bergen County, she at the time went to what was then Adult Learning Center and got a GED, and they sent her to community college. And and the rest was history. We became Bergen County residents. And as a result of that, property for the first time in several generations was interrupted because the county helped my mom go to school. She became a nurse. She worked at Valley Hospital. The 4 of us grew up going to the public school system, at least the high schools. I went to Catholic school, but that's another story. But in the high schools, we went through the public high schools. We got a really good education. Most of it, the 4 of us went, we partially went to college, graduated, bought houses, and then got to raise our kids in this county. So I say that because this county, I believe, saved our lives. And we become, I think I took that experience and became someone who I was lucky enough to absorb what people me. And I mean, going back, I see Adina's on the call. My mom was on welfare in Bergen County. I know she still knows the welfare worker's name from the 60s and 70s. That's Barbara Pitowski. So there were people who helped us along the way. And then I get to be in this job where I get to do the same thing for other folks that are struggling. And I think, wow, what an amazing accomplishment for me. But it's like a village. I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. Is it's a village. We did this together, right? And we keep passing. I was talking to Barry Schwartz, many of you know Barry Lynn, and Elaine Meyerson, and they were telling me a little bit of Weisman because I did not know her. I suspect though Celia Weissman's work had something to do with my family being able to succeed as well as they did, right? And what I heard was that Barry Lynn described her as being a little bit like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and I thought, well, that's cool. I'm getting an award in someone's name who's like RBG. I'll take that, especially today. After last night's fun times. You know, one of the former, so I get to join in Celia Weissman's name, people like Elaine Meyer, who's on my board, Bonnie O'Brien from last year. These are really the community change makers. And I'm like, wow, I get to be one. And, you know, many social services have embraced the quote, that many social justice groups have sort of adopted and taken on, that an army of lovers cannot fail. I was thinking about how that is so true, that we are an army of lovers, right? And what does that mean? And why is it that we can't fail? When I was talking to Elaine Meyerson a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about how, you know, now that we're getting older, the people that we trained so I was mentored by the Elaine world and others who may be on this call, and I've mentored quite a few folks through my students and staff that I've hired, and a lot of my staff and students have gone out and they're working at other agencies. And I thought we Elaine and I called it having social justice warriors now all over Bergen County. At Bergen Community College teaching and also my mentorship of students and staff, I'm like, wow, there's all these people that I know now that work in all these agencies. So we have this justice warriors everywhere, and it kind of made me feel good. So it's not just about me or you, it's about all of the people that we've touched in our lives and how they're doing great work in other places. In continuing, so remember that an army of lovers cannot fail. That's an important thing for us to remember right now, because we need to keep the love in our hearts, because it's very tough to go through. And in keeping with the army metaphor, when you're in the trenches, right? When you're in the trenches, it really matters who you're in the trenches with. And so with that, I really need to thank, my board is just amazing, committed, dedicated women and men and Ronnie Siegel is our board chair. I mean, she's just so awesome to be with, and the others. So they're very committed folks, and that's why we're able to do the work we're doing. I don't even know how to say about my staff. They're just a special group of people who really would run through the wall if they thought it would help somebody and break the wall. And so I'm as good as those folks are. It's got to be a shared award. There's no way one person can do the work. It has to be the people that work. My family of origin, my mom, my brothers, and my sister, who I think are here. I mean, we build life with you like they do, right? They're the ones. They're you people. And of course, my kids, Matthew and Brady Lynn, I think they're on one of these boxes somewhere. They are even though I yell at them and we get mad and we go crazy because we're all living in a house during a pandemic. They are the reason why I'm alive. My kids, as most of us do. And of course, Kathy's my partner in life. I don't know how. I thank God sometimes that she sticks it out with me, because you all know the people you live with, they know the other side, right? So I have to also, the last thing I wanted to kind of just close on is that these are really tough days. I don't think anybody's going to deny that. We know that it's kind of hell that we're living through. However, on this call, many of us are really well equipped to deal with a time like this, because we are what I call wounded healers, right? We suffered, and as a result of our, in whatever the way that was, whether it was financial, emotional, whatever, we've suffered in some way. Carly Simon, one of my favorite singers, said, "I'm sorry your mother dropped you on your head." In the end, we all get black and blue, right? So we've all suffered, but we take that woundedness, hopefully. We can do two things with it. a bad thing, we can make it worse, or we can say, I'm going to take this and I'm going to try to make the world that I'm in a better place. And I was, Rita Mae Brown had a, and it says, sorrow is how we learn to love. Your heart isn't breaking, it's getting larger. The larger it gets, the more love it holds. Well, my heart feels like it's about this big right now. So I love you. I love being part of this, being considered as someone helping to make the county a better place, because it certainly made it a better place for me and my family. So thank you all so much. I hope I didn't miss anybody.
Lil, I have to tell you that we have 100 people on this call in this meeting today, which is a record for HSAC, and it's all because of you. I just want you to know everybody loves Lil Corcoran, including me.